I just think it was more anxiousness. I felt very confident. I knew we were going to be in. When I saw the first bracket unveiled, though, in the East and saw Wisconsin at 8, though, that kind of raised my eyebrows a little bit because I thought they were going to be higher, and they, in my opinion, probably should have been the kind of team they are. But that kind of made you wonder, okay, what kind of seed are we going to get if they're an 8? So, as we were going along, I was obviously, once the ones were announced, I thought we had a great shot to be in the 8-9 games. So with the coincidence of Wojo being opposite Coach K, I was kind of sensing we might be going to Greenville also against Carolina. But then that passed. And then, once it became apparent, that we were going to be out in Salt Lake, it made it for good drama. But I wasn't nervous about going in, but the anxiousness of waiting for the whole show probably it seemed really hot in that building for those 45 minutes. It means everything because, these were the first guy. This is my first core group of guys, this 4-year cycle. And Taphorn and Sanjay, even though they were recruited by Coach Carmody, who was an outstanding coach and a great guy, they only played for me. So, this group are guys that, those seniors were freshmen that year, and then they were all guys that our current staff brought on. And what I said out there in front of the fans, I meant, I really wanted these group of guys to do it because I remember sitting in all their living rooms and just asking them to believe. I said, look, I have nothing tangible. I can't show you any banners. I can't show any pros that I've coached as a head coach or championships or all those things. I've never coached a game, never called a timeout. I just want you to believe in this. Please, take a chance on this. We can do it. Let's get a group of guys that'll work hard and try to do something like this. And I tried to tell them when these things happen how big this would be. And so to see all of this, it gets you emotional because these are the things we all dreamed of. And to see the guys very emotional, before we came out, this has meant a lot to them. And it's something we put a lot into and just a really special day. I mean, you don't get many chances in life in anything to be a part of something historical, things that have never, ever been done. So to be a part of this is something that they can never take away from us.
Chris, you talked earlier in the season about the pressure that the guys were feeling to get that first NCAA bid. Does it feel a little bit like a weight's been lifted off their shoulders and maybe yours?
I think a little bit, yeah. I mean, there's no question. We put pressure on ourselves, too. I mean, for me, there's no one that puts more pressure on myself than me. And so, obviously I came here to create a program, to build a program that was going to be competitive at this level and be relevant, when on Selection Sunday. And again, I hope this is just the start of something that we can do over the long haul. But at the end of the day, once, I think that Michigan game was huge. We were feeling pressure the last month of the season. There was no question. You can't deny it. But I thought we handled it great. Even though we had some tough losses, we came home, we got a huge win. And I think you guys see now the way Michigan's played the last month, what a win that was for us that night with the pressure we were under. And then go to Washington and get 2 really big wins in the tournament, I just thought kind of stamped our year, which was great. So, I know our guys are excited. We're going to go into this tournament and we're going to go there to try to stay there for a little while. It's not about just today. I wanted to celebrate today. Today was a celebration of a long time coming for a lot of people and especially our team. But now it's time to get to work. We got to get back on the practice floor tomorrow, and we'll have our hands full against a very good Vanderbilt team.
Perfect timing. What all do you know about Vandy, Coach Drew, and what
Yeah,
they run?
well, Bryce and I are very good friends, and we have known each other for a long time. Both of our dads are coaches, so we've grown up in basketball. I think we both played. So we have a lot in common, and we've been close friends for a long time, and I'm really happy for his success, what he's done down there, and I got a chance to watch them a handful of times during the year, and they're playing great. I mean, in year one, it's kind of like any time you take over a job, that first couple months, there's a feeling out process. But he figured it out with his team, and they've gotten together, and they've been as hot as anybody in the SEC. I think they beat Florida 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. So they're playing really good basketball. They're a confident team, and we're going to have our hands full. I need to get locked in tonight and start watching some tape, but trust me, it's nice to still be working this time of year.
Coach, any words for the players who maybe aren't on the roster this year but really helped bring the program to where it is today?
Yeah, it's a great question. And to be honest, I've reached out to a number of them. The first one, Drew Crawford. For me, Drew Crawford was the most important recruit of us starting this. He was a guy that could have left as a fifth year when I first got here, and our roster was depleted. And he knew that, and he had every school in the country trying to have him come and, help them get to a Final Four or things of that nature. And, he and I, that first year, the bond that we established and him sticking around and being the leader on that first team was huge for our program. And so, he's one that comes to mind. Trey Demps, Alex Ola, Jashawn Cobb, a lot of those guys, Dave Sobolewski, guys that were on those first couple teams that, they bought in from day one. They believed, and although those teams didn't get there, those guys helped set the stage, for what happened today. I look at a guy like Sanjay. When Sanjay was a freshman, Drew Crawford was his big brother. They were roommates. Sanjay hung on everything Drew Crawford said. And now to see Sanjay be the guy in that role, that's when you see things come full circle. So I know a bunch of those guys are playing overseas, and I know they were watching on their sling boxes or to, computers or whatever. And I hope that they are all proud, as well as everybody that's worn the jersey. I've gotten so many emails, letters, texts, calls from former players, former coaches, people that have been here and know what this place is about. And, I'm just glad to represent Northwestern today. It was a great day for Northwestern basketball. And I hope everybody that's been a part of this program for all the years can feel a part of it, because that's the way I feel and that's the way we feel.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It wasn't necessarily a picture-perfect season. You guys faced a lot of adversity, but does it make it that much sweeter knowing you had to show grit, that you really had to earn it? Does it just taste a little better knowing that you had to overcome that?
Yeah, I mean, I would have rather had Aaron Falzone the whole year and Pardon and Scott Lindsey, but we had to grind through some, just like all teams do. I mean, but it's, right off the bat, not having Aaron, someone who started every game for us, not knowing that he was going to be out for the whole year was a tough blow to our team. Then in the Wake Forest game, Pardon breaks his hand. We have to go 8 games without him, the first couple conference games. And then losing Scotty, and that was a huge blow because we were playing great. We had just beaten Indiana. We're 7-2 in the league. We're clicking on all cylinders, and you get kind of a gut punch the next day that Scotty's going to be out an extended period of time. So we've kind of had to figure it out on the fly all year long. We've stayed resilient. We've stayed tough. Losing that Indiana game at Indiana, was devastating for all of us because we thought that kind of could be the game to push us over the top. And then all of a sudden now you got to come home and you got the 2 hottest teams in the conference in Michigan and Purdue coming to your building knowing that you got to win at least one of them. And so we faced pressure. We faced adversity. These guys never quit. They stayed tough. They stayed resilient. And through it all, they found a way to win enough. We deserve this. I mean, what we got today, and I told them all year long, you get what you deserve. And that's what's cool about playing. At the end of the day, you get what you deserve at the end of the year when your whole resume is on the table. And I thought we got exactly what we deserved. And now it's exciting to play when it really matters, for the first time for all these guys' careers. It's going to be really fun to go into that tournament and see what we can do.
Coach, you've talked all season about how you thought this could be the team to finally make it. Was there any point where you realized that they should be or that they would be that team?
Really, guys, it was the Butler game. And even though we lost, I think it was our second or third game of the year. I knew, I have so much respect for who Butler is. We're playing in Hinkle Fieldhouse right out of the gate. And I knew that was going to be a game to test kind of where we're at and how good were we. And we went toe-to-toe with Butler that night, which was a buzzer beater, and we lost, and it was a devastating loss. But I remember getting on the bus after that game and heading back to Chicago and just saying to myself, we got a chance to be good. And we ended up going to New York that next week and beating Texas and having Notre Dame on the ropes. And, during that stretch is when I felt like we had the potential to really be a team that could contend this year.
Chris, when you look at your background, being from Duke and everything you've learned from Coach K. What are you going to use to apply and rely on as you go forward in the next few days and the games?
Yeah, I think, some of the experience of just, for 17 years being there, I was a part of 16 NCAA tournaments. So I think just the thing that can really help, I think, during this time is I have a feel for everything that goes on logistically when you're involved with an NCAA tournament. How we can make sure that the guys with their tickets for their family and the travel and, the things that can distract you from playing basketball. I think some of my experience in that regard with my support staff will really help so that the guys can focus on the game, because there's going to be so much hoopla these next couple days. And you're going to want to make sure your family gets out there and you have enough tickets and there's things that can distract you from why you're there, and that's to play a high-level game in the NCAA tournament. So I think my experiences from that point of view will be really good. I always lean on Coach K for a lot of things. I have my whole career, and, I find myself in a lot of situations. I should get one of those bracelets, WWCKD. What would Coach K do? But I think myself all the time, and if I'm really struggling with it, I know I can call him, which is a good thing. But I try not to bother him too much. He had 4 games the last 4 days, so I left him alone. But I think my experiences will help a little bit, just in terms of keeping the guys focused on playing and understanding. Like today, we wanted it to be a party. We wanted today to be a celebration, but now we got to get to work because anybody who's invited has a chance. That's what's so great about the tournament. The hardest part is about getting in, just like Northwestern, right?
Just to follow
right,
up.
Teddy?
Coach, to follow up on that point, how hard will it be to get the guys ready to go by Thursday? I mean, it's not just any regular tournament bid. This is historic.
Yeah, no, I believe in this group. I think the guys are going to be anxious to compete. I think we gained some confidence in Washington, D.C., especially that Maryland game. I sense from our guys, and for all intents and purposes, that was a road game. I mean, that was a crazy environment the other night against Maryland. And for us to have the toughness and the courage to go in there and win the game, I think we got a lot of confidence from that win. And so I think our guys, we feel good about where we're at. We got to get our legs back. We were exhausted when we got home last night, the 3 games, and I highly recommend not playing at 9:30 p.m. and then 3 o'clock the next day for anybody who is scheduling things. But it's not easy. But we were exhausted. Today was about celebrating, getting rested up, and we'll get back to practice tomorrow and figure out when we're playing on Thursday, and we'll get out to Salt Lake and get ourselves ready. We'll be ready to go Thursday whenever we play.
Sat in that seat where your players were today and heard Duke called, but what was it like for you as a coach to experience this moment today, having been there and now it's your team? What was that experience like?
Yeah, this was the most special. This is you can't, it's a first. I mean, it's the first time ever. I mean, it's, I'm a lot of times for me, even though I'm getting older and all these things and you have a family now, for me, I'm still a little kid at heart. I think it's one of my strengths. And I've always been a big dreamer and a believer, and for good or for bad, that's just how I'm wired. And I dreamed of this day. That's when I took this job. This was one of the big steps. I mean, this is why you come to a place like Northwestern to do this and to be different and do something that's never been done. So to see all those fans in there, have my family there and all those players, and to look those guys in the eyes and see all those smiles and all that joy, this, you can't top that. There's nothing like what we saw today.
Over the past 24 hours, you've been preparing, your team's been preparing for something that this program's never done. What was your message to them after the Maryland loss, the Wisconsin loss? And then over the past 24 hours, what's your communication been like with your coaches, with your players?
Yeah, well, we got back. We got home last night after losing the game. We got our stuff and got home. And the main message is now you got to move forward. It's a quick turnaround from a conference tournament to an NCAA. We went to Washington to win the tournament. We felt we could compete. We ran out of gas big time, and Wisconsin played very well. It's not to discredit them, but you guys saw. We were gassed out, and so we needed to get home. We needed to get rested. We said, let's make tomorrow special. We've earned the right to enjoy tomorrow and enjoy that moment. I'm big on, you guys know, like when we win a big game or something good happens, you have to enjoy the successes. there's so much pressure on these kids now, and they get ripped when they lose and they don't play well. Like, if you don't enjoy the good times, then, you know, what is there for? Like, why do you do it then? You know, so we celebrate when good things happen, and we celebrate quickly, and then we move on. And so today was, I told them, let's have fun today. Let's enjoy this moment. You guys have all put a lot into this. You guys are the ones that have made this happen. And then we'll meet here once everybody's done with all this, and we'll have a short meeting and kind of lay out what the next couple days are going to entail. And I'll give them the message of time to get back to work. You know, we got to come tomorrow. Let's get a good night's sleep. Let's get rested. And we got 3 days to get ready to play a really good – and that's all you can worry about in the NCAA tournament. You can't be looking at a bracket and, oh, we have Gonzaga, or I don't even know who else, but I know Gonzaga's there. And we can't be worried about anything other than playing Vanderbilt and trying to do whatever it takes on Thursday to win that game. All right, thank you, guys. Appreciate you being here.